And welcome back, everybody, to a fully whole and operational episode of the TV show. Angelo Cataldi is back. Rhea Hughes is here, and we got a ton to talk about. How are we, everybody?
Wonderful.
Good.
It's
Good.
good
I
to
had a
hear.
bladder stone. I was in surgery last week. I had a good excuse for blowing off two of the last three podcasts, but I
You
plan
did,
to be back for the rest of the summer.
and I'll just say this: I hope your experience today is better than your experience last week, Angelo.
Oh,
But
it couldn't be worse. Don't worry about that.
all right, let's get right into it. I wanted to start with a new documentary that was on Netflix called The Crash. It's about a girl named Mackenzie Shrilla, who's an Ohio teenager who was convicted of murder in 2023 when she drove into a wall, killing her boyfriend and his friend. And basically, they bring on everybody. They give this girl a chance to talk for herself, but they also bring out her father, Steve Shrilla, to talk about his experience being a dad and what he went through. And during the course of the conversation, he mentions, he's okay with his daughter smoking weed, which leads to Rhea, you have a son in Catholic school. He is
Yes.
apparently a teacher at a Catholic school. By the way, an art teacher, which you can't get a job as an art teacher
I
anywhere.
assume he's smoking weed.
Yeah. And Rhea, I'll start with you.
Yeah.
When we talk about documentaries, number one, he claims it was bad editing that made him look like this because that's what they always say, it's bad editing.
Yeah.
So my first question is, do you have a right to be worried about the editing? And number two, how many times have we seen this where a documentary has affected the real world like that? Because I have a couple of examples that I'd like to talk about. So
Yeah.
tell me your
So, I
thoughts on
mean,
this.
the weed thing with the Catholic school, it's like, first of all, weed is legal in a lot of states. Angelo
Right.
has a card from the state of California. So I think that they wanted to put him on administrative leave a long time ago when his daughter did this, and they were looking for a reason. That's what I believe. But can I just say one thing about these accidents? This wasn't an accident. She drove them in there. Why is it that the person who's driving the car always survives, the bad person?
It's
I mean,
Rhea, I
amazing.
never get that.
It's amazing.
DUIs, this, because I followed this case. When it happened, because it was just so heartbreaking. But I've just never understood that. So I think they were probably always looking for a reason to get him out of the school, because do they want somebody involved teaching their kids? And listen, bad kids can happen to great people. We've seen
Yeah.
it a million times. So, it doesn't mean, but yeah, there's a couple examples. If I remember correctly, Bowling for Columbine had the thing in there, which was, obviously about the guns and Columbine. And if I remember correctly, who's the guy who did that again?
That was
The
Michael
crazy
Moore.
Michael Moore had somebody who was injured in like a Kmart shooting go into a Kmart and ask them if they could get a refund for the bullet that was lodged in their spine. And like the next day, Kmart stopped selling bullets. I don't know if they've gone back to it. The John Bonet documentary was terrible in the sense that it basically put the spotlight on the brother, who a lot
Right.
of people believe. But I've read many books on John Bonet. The police bungled that case so poorly from the beginning, they'll never know who did it. But
Yeah.
that put the spotlight on, the kid who was, I don't know, what, 8, 10 at the time. And he sued CBS for that. And then you have Tiger King. That was wild. That
Oh
whole
yeah. Well,
documentary.
Tiger King will never have anything like that again, unless there's another
No.
pandemic. You never know.
Yeah.
Angelo, I know you
Yeah.
are a documentary fiend. That's,
Yeah.
I would say you probably, you've recommended the most documentaries anybody here. So I'm sure you have thoughts on this.
Yeah,
Tell me.
sure. The number one example I could give you, I won't even give you another one because it's so overwhelming, was the Jinx, Robert
Oh,
Durst.
yeah.
Robert Durst is the most extraordinary thing I've ever seen in a documentary. They're doing a documentary about this guy who's accused of killing a couple of people. And he's a very rich guy. And he's got the mic on during the interview and he has to take a leak, which I can directly relate to. Sometimes you just got to take a leak. He goes to the urinal. He's weeing and he confesses to the crimes. Both of them. He confesses to them. And as a
Was
result,
he just talking to himself?
yes, there was no
Yeah.
one else there. Because
Wow.
yeah, let's clear one thing up. And Jay, back me up on this. When two men are next to each other at the urinals, no discussions
No,
happen.
no
Understand?
talking.
There's no talk, even
No.
with a friend. This is private time.
Yeah.
Hello?
No, there's no more powerful barrier than that
Right.
little wood divider between urinals.
But Jay, I got to talk about the crash, all right? Because I hadn't seen it. I wasn't aware that it was just coming out, and it is an extraordinary case. And I got to tell you that I watched it about 14 hours ago, and it's haunting me.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
what's haunting me is how horrific not the girl is. The girl's a monster, right? The
Yeah.
girl that decided to drive her car into a building at 100 miles an hour, all right? That no evidence of any braking, no evidence of any slowing, straight into the building at 5:35 in the morning, smear, killing her two friends, including her boyfriend, and putting her in the hospital for a long time. Those parents are monsters. Do you understand? What they are still totally in denial about what happened, although there's no alternative explanation because very conveniently she can't remember. She
Oh, yeah.
remembers everything before it and everything after it, but not the moment when it happened. That guy didn't get, it wasn't editing that get this Steve guy put on the sidelines. It was the fact that he still will take no responsibility for the death of two young people.
Right.
And that he is still, after all these years, making more excuses for a daughter that never followed any rules and never did anything that she was supposed to do. She was a bully. She was entitled. She's 17, Jay, and she's living with the boyfriend. 17. She's not
Yeah.
even an adult yet. These parents were disgraceful. And then the mom came into court and disgraced herself again by telling everybody what a wonderful daughter she had. And the father is just off the charts. I hated this guy as bad as I would hate an actual murderer. That's how much I hated this guy. I wouldn't employ Steve Shrilla to clean my gutters, let alone work in my school, right? And
Yeah.
that's why it wasn't editing. The only editing they did was edit so that they took some of the stupid stuff he said out because it would have been a 4-hour documentary.
Fair
I
enough.
hate that guy.
I'll tell you the one documentary I thought of when I was thinking about this was, and Angela, I don't know if you ever saw this, the Paradise Lost trilogy, which is available on HBO Max if you want to see it. It's one of these documentaries that they revisited every couple of years. It was about three kids who confessed to a murder, and the confession was coerced. And people saw the documentary and they started to rally around the kids. And the second documentary comes out, and you're convinced that the stepfather did all the killing. And it's you gotta see it. It's three documentaries, and those kids eventually are released because of the documentary. So that's the one I always think of when it comes to that. All right. So, this is something we've talked about a whole bunch, Angelo, and I don't know if there's much more to say, but I just noticed that the TV upfronts happened this week, which it used to be a very big deal. This is where the networks come out to the advertisers and say, hey, look, this is what we got coming up in September. There's not even a fall TV season anymore, so I don't know why they have May upfronts. But apparently at this May upfront, the people who were the biggest shows, the thing that most people cared about, were YouTube, Netflix, and Amazon. And this used to be broadcast TV's day to shine, and now they are relegated to the sidelines while the tech companies take over. I guess my question here, Angelo, is TV now a tech business more than a broadcasting business in your mind?
Obviously, yes, it is. And the streamers won the battle by default.
Yeah.
See, up fronts, they used to unveil amazing shows. We're going to show you the Seinfeld Chronicles. Cheers. Great shows. Let's just say the network still had more of a grasp on these up fronts. What are they going to promote? Their
Yeah.
19th crime procedural, another CSI derivative, more FBI stuff, more CIA crap, more stuff at Chicago Med, Chicago Fire, all these. There's nothing to promote on network TV. The only thing I've watched, other than reality shows or sports, was Doc. And frankly, that show went right off the rails the last 3 episodes of season 2 and lost me. There's
Yeah.
nothing on network TV that there is to promote to the advertisers. They're stuck with this, just they're in a revolving door of nothing. And
Yeah.
the streamers, these guys come up with good stuff. They
Yeah.
have, it seems to me, they're spending more money. They're more involved with the creative end of it. And they deserve to lead it now. We're just lucky somebody took over after the networks backed off.
You know,
Somebody is giving us programming. And thank you.
Angelo, I saw something, and I don't know if it's true, but there's a rumor that Apple TV is losing $1 billion a year, and
Wow.
Wow.
they don't care because they said if we keep producing quality, it'll eventually come back in a good way for us. So
I hope
I think
so
that's a
too.
very interesting thought. Rhea, what do you think? You're in broadcasting, and you are a traditional broadcaster. You put out free stuff over the air for advertising. Is that a dinosaur? Is that done? Is that
Angelo,
methodology over?
Angelo and I both know that they've been saying terrestrial radio is going to be dying for like the last 50 years. And it hasn't because people, especially sports wise, want local flavor. So I
Yeah.
think that's kind of where we're safe there because the national people generally don't know what's going on with your teams. The TV part of it, I don't watch any local TV. I don't, I mean, when I go onto my direct TV thing for games, like the NBA playoffs, the NHL, that's the only, and I'm like, oh, what are all these shows on here? I'm strictly a streamer. So
Yeah.
I think it is just, I mean, for me, it is.
Yeah. The only thing that my family watches still is High Potential. Angela, I know you checked out on that, but
Love it.
I still enjoy it. She's great. It's a lot of fun, that
But I
show.
watch it on a streamer.
Yeah. Okay, Rhea, you are a SAG-AFTRA member, and I wanted to bring
Yes.
this up because this is your union. I saw
Yep.
something. This enrages me. SAG-AFTRA reached a deal with the studios this week that allows AI synthetic performers in movies and TV with one condition. They can only be used if they bring significant additional value to the project, which is, what does that even mean? Like an AI generated synthetic character. It goes for voting. I guess sometime later, June
Between
4th.
it'll be sent to members between May 14th and June 2nd, maybe.
Yeah, Rhea, is this something that anybody should be okay with? I mean, should we vote against it because this is a bad thing that's coming, or is it inevitable? Is the freight train coming for all of us?
Here's the thing is, I do think it's inevitable. I think my concern is who's deciding on the significant contribution.
Yeah,
That's what I want to know. Is it a lawyer sitting in an office or is it actual creative person? To me, like I haven't gotten it to look at it, so I don't know. The concern is like they had to bargain some kind of AI in because it was coming. And if they didn't, they were going to go back on strike again. So
right.
do you want everybody to be out of work? And I mean, selfishly, we do a TV show. Do we want to go back to where there was a long stretch of month there? We're kind of running out of new stuff to watch here
Yeah, it's
because they were
fair.
on strike for so long. So you have to make a deal at some point about AI coming in. My concern is who decides what AI is okay and what isn't. That's to me where the question I have is.
Angelo, are you okay with an AI Angelo Cataldi doing sports radio for the next 700 years? Are you fine with
Well,
that?
here's the thing. One of the things I'm recommending this week features a brilliant performance completely created by AI. So clearly, I have opened my mind up enough to see its benefits. The problem you got here is, and I'm also, by the way, a member of SAG, even though I no longer perform except on this podcast. The Comeback, this show on HBO Max.
Yeah.
I don't even know if you watch it. It's not very good. It's Lisa Kudrow playing Valerie Cherish, a sitcom hack actress who is still trying to get work in her 60s. All right. But man, they tackle the AI issue straight on in their
Wow.
final season, which I watched to the end. And it was brilliant because basically she's got a show now. She's so desperate, she'll take whatever she get. The show is totally written by AI,
Wow.
but they don't want anyone to know. So they try to keep it. Rhea, is that secret going to keep?
No, they never do. Somebody, listen, talent people, Jay, stand-up comedians, radio people, newspaper, we're the worst gossips in the entire world. Let's
We
be
Right.
honest.
100%.
Right. Now, the problem they got, I mean, this is a bad issue because when you say it makes a significant impact, who's to say that? No one knows what that is. It's extremely arbitrary.
Yeah.
But it shows you that there simply is no way to stop the intrusion of AI into everyday entertainment.
Yeah.
So I have reached the point now where I'm not going to fight it anymore. I'm going to embrace it because sometimes it makes a good show a great one. And I'll give you more on that in a couple of minutes.
That's
And
what we
I'm
call
going
it.
to let you know, Jay, real quick. I will reference the AI thing in my British segment.
Look at it, guys. This is something an AI could never do. Tease effectively. That's
Thank you.
we're still trying to get AI to do it. They can't do it. Angelo, you wrote a very well received and excellent memoir called Loud, which we promote every week without compunction because it is a great book. Hayden Panettiere, I think I'm saying that name correctly. Panettiere.
I've never known how to say her name.
Yeah.
Ever.
You might remember her as the cheerleader from Heroes. She just
Yeah.
released a memoir where she talks about an Oscar-winning actor and director who exposed himself to her at a party when she was 19, and she chose not to name him. And it's questionable to me if she was trying to protect herself in the industry, if she was trying to protect this guy, whatever. But I have two questions about this. Number one, would you ever allow your kid to go to Hollywood with every story we've ever talked about the way kids are treated in Hollywood? And number two, as the writer of a memoir, do you feel like is it a good memoir if you don't name names? Do you need to name names for it to be a good memoir? Angelo Cataldi.
All right. Yeah. Yes, I would let my child go to Hollywood if their dream was to be part of the entertainment community. Yes. Yeah. You don't say no to somebody because they eat their children out there. You give them a chance to pursue their biggest dream. This is disgraceful, what happened here. And I really do understand it because I did go through the process of writing a memoir. After it's written, they have to find some stuff to sell it, to get attention, to get headlines. And I'm sure her original instinct was not to even include the story because she had no intention of diming out whoever did this, right? First of all, I don't know why she's protecting such a creep.
Yeah.
That's outrageous. That's number one, that she needs to protect this guy who did this heinous thing. But two is she's just trying to, it's capitalism. She's just trying to sell a book. But you can already tell if they're not going to name names in their memoir, what are they saving that for?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And if they're not going to name names of people who did criminal things, why would I want to read that? What she's announcing to the world, anything really interesting I have, I'm not going to tell you because I have to protect people. Well, I don't want to read your book then. Go to hell.
Rhea, are you going to name Angelo in your book about your experience as a broadcaster in Philadelphia? I mean, what do you think?
Yes, I will name names. Now, here's the thing is, so, I'm going to bring my British stuff into this. The British family has been super upset with Harry ever since he wrote Spare, because, he put a lot of information, stuff that happened, Prince William attacking him in his house one day over Meghan and knocking him to the floor. The whole point is they conveniently forget that Prince Charles, many years ago, wrote a memoir in which he said his mother was like the coldest person he'd ever met, left him alone, like that she and her husband, it's back when travel wasn't great, went on like a year-long tour and raised by nannies. So I'm always amused by like the British family in this sense. Harry wasn't supposed to do it, but his father had already done it. So yeah, you got to include that stuff. If you're going to put something like that in there, well, I'm sure lawyers got to it. I'm sure lawyers said, you don't have any proof, you'll get sued. I'm sure that's what happened.
Sure,
Probably.
sure. And listen, I've been to Hollywood parties, and I can tell you that they are not, at least the ones that I went to, were not as bad as I thought that they were going to be. But I could definitely see, some creepo going, "Hey, look at this over here," and I would rather him be exposed only so that he can be, properly shamed out of the business, or at least get a career ding for doing something so terrible.
And I want to just piggyback real quick on what Angelo said about your kids. Let them do what they want. You also just have to train them to not take shit from anybody. Excuse my language.
Sure,
My
yeah.
mother never wanted me to go into radio. My father, my biological father, passed away when I was very young. Never made a cent. He was a DJ for a couple of radio stations. You're never going to make any money. I've done well. I'm still in it. I'm about to celebrate my 29th year on the morning show in August. But I'm in a thank you, Angelo, very much. I've been in a male dominated industry my entire life. And I will just tell you this. I have a very strong personality, but Angelo knows one time a guy in the business tried to bully me.
Mm.
And that man right there went up to him the next day and said, I want to inform you there is only one 900-pound gorilla around here, and it's me. And if you ever go near her again, you will have to deal with me. So, you have to be surrounded by great people, but you just have to also be a strong person and tell people. You always have, if something is wrong, you just got to go tell people.
That's you know what? That's a good point. And if you're a young woman listening to this show, number one, why? But number two, listen to Rhea. All right, Angelo, I'm going to name a name right now and it's a good name. It's our friend Steven Singer, a guy that only great things will ever be written about. Tell me about Steven Singer.
Well, Rhea, when you write the a memoir,
Yeah.
and I know you will, make sure you get that anecdote in where I'm a hero. That's a good one for me. Yeah, Steve,
it might have been one of my favorite things you ever did.
Here's what we're really talking about with this last thing we're discussing: honesty, being honest with people.
Yeah.
And in the jewelry business, that's a big deal, because you go into a jewelry store and you look at a gem, whatever it is, you have no idea what the quality of the diamond is, or the emerald, or whatever it is. You need the honesty of the person you're buying it from. You need them to tell you this is the value of it. And that, to me, all the things we've said about Steven Singer, the way he runs his jewelry business, that is the reason he is a success story. Because people feel comfortable when they go across that threshold into a store, that they're going to be treated fairly, and that they're going to get the honest truth about what they're buying. And nobody knows that better than my good friend Rhea.
So it's funny that you mentioned emerald, because May, the birthstone for May, is an emerald. And people like to do different kind of rings now for engagement rings and wedding bands. I've noticed that's a trend. I kind of look up these things from time to time when I know we're going to be talking about Steven. Check this out. This is an emerald and diamond ring, $1,588. It's gorgeous.
Wow.
So if you're, getting married or getting engaged to someone and they love their birthstone, or you're looking for, a wedding band, here's an idea for your wife to be.
Love that.
You can get an emerald if your birthday, well, you can get an emerald anytime, but especially if your birthday's in May.
I like that catchphrase. You can get an emerald anytime. Rhea Hughes.
Rhea, that's one of the nicest things you showed us. Other corner bake the walnut, also now in Newtown. Check out the best there is, Steven Singer Jewelers.
Well, there's the best jeweler is Steven Singer, but the best British correspondent in the business is Rhea Hughes. Rhea, what do you got for us this week?
So I have this show called The Island. It popped up on Acorn. It popped up on their, they have a segment where, because Acorn's a British, where I get a lot of my British stuff. Top 10 things viewed in the US. And I said, oh, this is interesting. So it was popped up on there. Basic plot is a wealthy family has a beautiful ancestral home on the island of Harris, which is in the Scottish Outer Hebrides. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. So again, as I always mention, a lot of these shows, the scenery is as much an actor as absolutely gorgeous. So wealthy family. Father comes home from a night out, finds his wife shot during a robbery. He gets shot. All of a sudden, this young detective from the mainland gets sent over to help out with the fact they call them family liaison officers. When there are victims, families, they're the ones who help out. Well, it
Hmm.
turns out she had grown up on that island and had fled the island when she was around 18 or 19 and had ties with the family. So, but there were a couple of things I found interesting about it. It was in English, and then it would switch to Gaelic,
Huh.
and I would have to start watching, and so I read about it, and it was actually a story in the Hollywood Reporter. They're trying to get more Gaelic shows on. So what they did was they did a 70-30 split because the police were coming over from the mainland. They would obviously be speaking English. But then when they were on there, I found that a little disconcerting. I'll just be honest. To me, I'll watch stuff with the subtitles, but going back and forth from English to Gaelic was a little I didn't find it as enjoyable.
Sure.
But I will say, so here's where I'm going to bring up, but they've devoted a lot of money to this, almost $1 million an episode. It's only 4 episodes now, but they put a lot of money into this. But one of the reviews I read was really funny. I've really focused on the first. I'm starting the third episode later today. These episodes are longer. Um, that it was kind of formulaic, and this guy in iNews out of the UK wrote, this show feels like it was written by AI. And it made me laugh considering what we were talking about, because
Sure.
there wasn't, like, they seemed like good actors, but there was no meat to the plot. And that's the thing that I think we have to remember about AI. If it's not written well, like I said, I think these actors are fine, but if it's not written well, people will know the difference.
Yeah.
And I never in my head went, oh, this could have been written by AI. I just thought it wasn't well written. So The Island on Acorn, it's okay.
I think
It's okay.
sometimes Rhea, when there's no peculiarities to the show, like human beings throw
Yep.
in weird stuff
Yep.
because you like yo-yos. So you have one of the character has a yo-yo for no
Yeah.
good reason except you like yo-yos. And that's a weird little thing that a human would do, but I don't think
Yeah.
AIs have learned to be weird yet.
Yeah.
Speaking of weird, Angelo Cataldi, what do
Yeah.
you have for us this week?
Well, I want to start with I learned a little bit about myself during my illness. I was in the hospital for a couple of days. I was laid up for a better part of a week. And it occurred to me at one point that I was watching a ton of TV.
Yeah.
Then it occurred to me that I always watch a ton of TV. And then I concluded that I live my life like a patient.
You were already built for this.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you a couple. I saw a lot of stuff, but the best thing I saw, the thing that I really loved, is a movie that is currently just dropped on Netflix called Remarkably Bright Creatures. It is my wife's favorite book ever. And
Mine.
she didn't even know that it was made into a movie. Sally Field she is a gift to America. She's great
Yes.
in everything. Lewis Pullman. I hadn't seen a lot of his work, but I know his father Bill
Yeah.
while you were sleeping. He's really good in it too. But the best performer, here goes AI again, is an octopus. Now, I don't know that much about how you train creatures, but I'm going to
Marcellus
guess.
is his name. Get his name. Marcellus, the
Yes,
octopus.
Marcellus, you're right, Rhea. Um, I would think that training an octopus to be able to carry out this thing would have been virtually impossible. But it was not impossible because of AI. And in the end, that octopus to me should be nominated for an Oscar because it cannot be easy getting around with those eight big arms and all that stuff going on. It's really awesome. All I'm going to say is, and I said to Gail after, Gail, is it as good as the book? And she said, nothing could ever be as good as the book. But this came about as close as you can come.
They did
Wow.
And
a
I
good
can,
job, Ange. I have to say,
yeah,
the book is one of my all-time favorite books
yeah.
of all time. It's top 3. I was shocked that they were able to come as close as they did.
Oh, you did? Okay. Because the message is profound. It's about aging. It's about, the cycle of life, all that. It's fantastic. You will love it. I guarantee it. And it's something you could watch with your kids because there's
Yep.
nothing in it that's harsh. It's great. The other thing, this is, and I'm not name dropping here, but one time about 10 years ago, I performed on stage with the great Martin Short.
Oh,
Right?
wow.
He had been a guest on our show, and I mentioned to him that I was be attending his show that night at the Borgata, and he must have registered that in his brain, and he came out as Jeremy Glick, the big. He's got this big fat suit
Big
on, and
Yeah.
Glick.
big, amazing triple chin and all that stuff, and he called me up and I was the person he interviewed. And by the end of this 10 minutes, he was writhing all over me and just perform. And the thing was, this was during a lull in his career. And he's maybe half the place was filled. And he still went to the max to get a laugh out of everybody. He's the ultimate performer. I'm thrilled that Murders in the Building. What's the name of that show?
Yes, only
No
murders in the
Motors.
building.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that put him back in, at the top. There's now a great documentary out about him. It's on Netflix and it's called Marty, Life is Short. And this is why I would send my kid to Hollywood. Because yeah, there are a lot of barracudas out there and nasty people. There are also some great people like Martin Short. And he
Yeah.
has lived through so much crisis and sadness, and he has still come out the other end as a good human being and a brilliant entertainer. It does justice to Martin Short. Marty, Life is Short on Netflix.
I read his autobiography, which I highly recommend. And, it is a tragic life. And I'm so happy that he's getting this late career boost, him and Steve Martin, where people,
Yep.
it's nice that you can sort of get people to look at the body of your career while you're still alive and reassess it and go, hey, wow, this guy's pretty amazing.
He's
Um,
brilliant and he's my favorite character in Only Murders in the Building. He's absolutely brilliant.
he never misses. The guy's great.
No.
He's really
Real
good.
fast, I wanted to talk. There was a roast on Mother's Day. I know that's a while back now of Kevin Hart. I don't know if you saw the roast, Angelo. I got to say, I missed the days. Here's what needs to happen. I just need you to understand. Roasts used to be a bunch of people who knew each other, making fun of each other out of love.
Yeah.
Now it's a bunch of hired guns with hired writers trying to do the best one-liner, and some of them are great. Chelsea Handler had the best one. She said, Tony Hinchcliffe, you have the face of a school shooter and the attitude of the first kid shot, which is that's a great roast joke.
That
Uh,
is good.
but we've lost something. We don't understand what the heart of a roast is, which is people who know and love each other making fun of each other, not hired hands. And that's why they'll never be as good as they were in the 70s until you get people who know and love each other. Angelo,
Yeah.
what did we talk about this week?
It's a great point. I find them exhausting.
They are. This one was like 3 hours.
It just goes out.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, here's what you need to check out this week. The Crash on Netflix. It's very controversial. I would love some feedback on that. The parents, to me, they ruined everything. And they took 2 lives, whether they ever want to admit it or not. If you want to see what I chose as the documentary that made the biggest difference, The Jinx is currently available on HBO Max. If you are also looking for an exploration of AI, The Comeback is available, final season now on HBO Max. The Island, Rhea gave a milk toast kind of a yes. Watch it, but you could probably do better with some of her other recommendations. It's The Island on Acorn. Remarkably Bright Creatures is on Netflix. Marty, Life is Short is on Netflix. And the Kevin Hart roast, maybe you'll find it funnier than Jay. That is on Netflix.
And that man right there is Angelo Cataldi. You can read his book that names names loud by
Always.
going to Audible, Amazon, or AngeloCataldi.com. It's a great book worth checking out. Rhea Hughes, right over there. You can listen to her every single morning on the WIP Morning Show. If you want to listen to it on the app, it's the Odyssey app. And you can also check out her Instagram, which is Rhea Hughes 94 WIP. Do you like crazy liberals? Sure, you do. Go check out my Instagram, which is Hello J Black. My Facebook is coming on too. You can find me there. I don't want to be this crazy. This is just the world is making me so. I want to thank our great sponsor, Steven Singer, for sponsoring us. And I want to thank you guys for listening. And guys, we will be back next week with more great TV talk.